Assalamualaikum, Prof. Ibrahim and my fellow listeners. Today, I'll be presenting my first project titled Statistical Test for Factors Affecting Graduate Employability of Research Universities in Malaysia. I am from Group 5, I am Siti Hajar, and the rest are my group members. I would like to start by stating the outline of this study. There are the introduction, literature review, methods, results and discussion, conclusion, and a list of references. We start by seeing the overview of the topic graduate employability. Over 290,000 students graduate annually. However, 1 in 5 graduates remain unemployed within 6 months after graduation. Among those fresh graduates, 25% of unemployment are degree holders. These are the objectives set for the study. The first one, to count graduate employment for gender, academic disciplines, and family income. Second, to compare English proficiency and CGPA for employed and unemployed graduates from two academic disciplines with lowest employment. The third one, to compare CGPA attained by mathematics graduates from different family income groups. Fourth, to compare homogeneity between gender concerning first priority of criteria in choosing occupation, most preferred occupation sector, and reasons for unemployment. Last one, to test for dependency between STEM disciplines read by employed graduates and their current occupation field. The scope of the study is IPTA graduates from the 5 research universities in Malaysia, and we focus on bachelor graduates only. Assumptions of study: the survey is answered by graduates truthfully and the data collected are accurate. From the literature review, profiles such as gender, academic discipline, and CGPA have repeatedly found to be the factors affecting graduate employability. From gender perspective, the odd ratio shows that male graduates are more likely to get employed than female graduates regardless whether they get good or bad CGPA. However, female students are actually found to be generally more informed than male students about skills which the industry wants, based on the previous study, which is rather contradicting. For academic discipline, education and science field are significant in comparison to literature and social science. STEM disciplines are important especially for developing country like Malaysia. Studies found that achievement in academic can enhance employability. Graduates with excellent CGPA have better opportunity to be employed than those with lower CGPA. Proficiency in communicating and writing in English are important as the usage of colloquial form of English at workplace are not favored by employers. Lastly is the family income. It is found that employers from lower income sectors prefer lower income graduates as they presume higher class management skills. Meanwhile, employers from higher income sectors prefer higher income graduates because they presume higher academic knowledge. So these social and economic inequalities are sharpened by the reliance on employability as an indicator of quality training. Methods used in this study are profiling using frequency charts and correlation charts, man with NIU test, one-way ANOVA, and test of homogeneity and independence. The data is as displayed. The factors involved are employability, gender, family income, English, NEC, the National Education Code, discipline, bachelor, CGPA, the first choice work criteria, the first choice of work sector, working field, and reason for unemployment. Some of the data has been recoded to its real description. This is the frequency chart. It displays the number of employment with regards to gender, academic discipline, and family income. Here is an example of academic discipline. The agriculture and veterinary has 347 employed graduates and 110 unemployed graduates, and so on. Correlation charts. It is used to show the association between two variables. So the positive and negative correlations are displayed in different colors. The color intensity and the sizes of the circles are proportional to the correlation coefficients. The examples will be shown in the later slides. So the variables that we are looking in these charts are the gender, academic discipline, and family income. So here is an example of the family income table. The next method we are using is the man with NIU test, which is used to compare the differences between two independent groups that are the graduates, whether they are employed or unemployed. So the assumption of this test are that the samples are randomly and independently selected from the populations. The dependent variable is either ordinal or continuous, and they are not normally distributed. So the hypotheses are whether the mean of the populations are equal or the alternative is unequal. For one-way ANOVA, we are looking at family income groups. So one-way ANOVA is a hypothesis test about the mean where there is more than two populations. It involves a single factor but of a few groups or levels. So the single factor here is the family income groups, and the few levels are the B40, M40 and T20. So the assumptions for this test is that the sample is independent and that B40, M40 and T20 has normally distributed population and they have common variances. So the null hypothesis states that all the mean for the groups are the same, while the alternative hypothesis states that at least one mean for any group are not equal. For tests of homogeneity and tests of independence, they are both a chi-square test. For tests of homogeneity, we will see that the preferences tested are about the criteria in choosing occupation, the occupation sector, and the reason of unemployment. For example, we will see whether male and female have the same criteria in choosing occupation, and so on. For tests of independence, we will see whether STEM disciplines have significant relationship to the occupation field. Here we are for the results and discussion. For the first objective, we're comparing the graduate employability for gender. So there are 5,047 male and 9,880 female from the data set. We can see that it is a positive result where the number of employed male and female are more than those unemployed. We can see also that the number of employed female is almost twice the number of employed male. However, if we compare to the total of the graduates, 76% of male graduates are actually employed and 69% of female graduates are employed. For academic discipline, we can see that in all academic disciplines, the number of employed graduates are more than the number of unemployed graduates. However, services discipline recorded the least number of employed and unemployed graduates. We can see here that there are three disciplines with high employment that are the social sciences, business and law, science, mathematics and computing, and engineering, manufacturing and construction disciplines. This is good as Malaysia needs to focus on increasing the workforce for professional and critical sectors. The lowest employment comes from graduates with family income less than 500 ringgit, while the highest number of employed graduates comes from the group of family income between 3,000 to 5,000 ringgit, which is actually the upper B40. For some reasons, T20 family is half the number of employed graduates from M40 and B40 family. Moving on to Objective 2, it is found that education and health and welfare has the lowest graduate employability. These are the histogram for English proficiency, which are measured by the SPM results for employed and unemployed graduates respectively. From the box plot, we can see that both employed and unemployed graduates actually have the same pattern of English proficiency. Both of them have averagely A minus for English in their SPM, which is a rather reasonable results as the students definitely need good English results to enter universities. Using man with NIU test, we set the alpha to be 0.05. For English proficiency, we can see that the p-value actually exceeds 0.05. Hence, we conclude that the English proficiency are equal for employed and unemployed graduates. Meanwhile, for CGPA attained by the graduates, we can see that the p-value is much less than the alpha 0.05. Hence, CGPA are not equal for employed and unemployed graduates. For Objective 3, we focus on mathematics graduates only, but from different family income groups. From the calculation, we can see that the p-value exceeds the alpha, which is set to 0.05. So this implies that we accept the null hypothesis. It states that there is no significant difference in CGPA of mathematics graduates from different family income groups. This reflects that socioeconomic background of the students do not limit the students to achieve good results in universities. The results are illustrated in the next slide. Moving on to objective 4, now we are looking at the criteria in choosing occupation between female and male. So this is the chi-square table. This is a correlation chart. The blue circles represents the positive correlation while the red circles represents the negative correlation. The intensity of the color represents the value of coefficient correlation. By the homogeneity test, male graduates prioritize different criteria from the female graduates in choosing occupation. Hence, we conclude that the criteria in choosing occupation are not homogeneous between genders. So the differences are illustrated in the next slide. Male graduates prefer occupation that offer them high salary. This shows male graduates prioritize to earn well in order to live comfortably. On the other hand, female graduates choose an occupation that gives them work satisfaction. They prioritize on feeling good about what they do, be it in terms of contribution or personal achievement. Next, we are looking at the most preferred occupation sector between female and male. This is the chi-square table and the definition are as follows. By the homogeneity test, male and female graduates have same preference in choosing working sector, that is the government sector. The same preference in government sector may be due to flexible working hours, influence from parents who are working in the government sector as well, good working environment, good pension scheme, and for its known stable career path. Next, we are looking at whether female and male have the same reasons for unemployment. This is the chi-square table and the analysis is in the next slide. From the chart, we can see that male and female graduates have different reasons for unemployment. Male graduates are highly linked to taking breaks as reason of unemployment, while female graduates have some significant association to seeking job and health issues as reasons of unemployment. We will go into the further details in the next slide. The clear differences are as stated. Most male graduates are taking breaks, and this may be due to exhaustion from years of study in universities, planning for business or traveling, waiting for suitable job offer, and they may actually not be interested in working. On the other hand, most female graduates are seeking job while waiting for their employment. Their unemployment may be due to having specific preference of job and salary, getting irrelevant job offer from employers, having lack of experience and skills, and having competition with other fresh graduates and even senior employees more than 50 years old. Our last objective is looking at the relationship between STEM disciplines and the occupation field. We are looking at the engineering, manufacturing, and construction discipline first. The engineering, manufacturing, and construction discipline has positive correlation to being employed in professionals, while there is a very high negative correlation of these graduates working as clerical, support workers, and service and sales workers, which is a good sign that the graduates from this discipline are employed befitting to their field. Secondly, we are looking at the science, mathematics, and computing discipline. It has a positive correlation to clerical support workers and service and sales workers, and a very high negative correlation of these graduates working in professionals field. This is an alarming result that implies graduates from this discipline are not employed befitting to their field and expertise. We have finally reached our conclusion. From this study, we can conclude that male graduates have higher employability than female graduates. Sciences and critical fields have higher employability than other academic disciplines. And most employed graduates actually comes from the B40 family income. English proficiency and CGPA of graduates from education discipline do not differ between employed and unemployed graduates. Mathematics graduates are able to achieve CGPA 3.20 averagely regardless coming from any socioeconomic background. Male graduates prefer occupation that offer high salary, while female graduates prefer occupation that gives them work satisfaction. However, both male and female graduates prefer to work in government sector. Unemployed male graduates say they are taking breaks, while unemployed female graduates say they are seeking jobs. Lastly, the graduates from STEM disciplines are not necessarily being employed in occupation fields that are befitting to their academic background. Hence, we can increase the employability of our fresh graduates by deep diving the factors stated in the conclusion. Overall, we can say that the education in universities should prepare us to enter the workforce. As what Nora Ephron has said, your education is a dress rehearsal for a life that is yours to lead. Thank you for your attentive moments throughout my presentation.